We ready? Let's go. In the sunny California. Look around. So Ashton Pickles from AH Surfboard, right? At
Yes.
AH Vessel Surfboard.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
name.
yeah.
Where the name comes from? I didn't ask you that.
Oh, yeah. Actually, most people don't ask. But so the A is my name.
Yeah.
So, um, right at first when I was making the company, so it used to be under Pickle Six. It was just for fun though. So I've been
Oh,
shipping for like
okay.
10 years. And so like for the first five years, just for fun, like just making boards for my friends, and some other people. And then when my son was about to be born, my wife was pregnant.
Yeah.
I was going to physical therapy school. So I did like
Oh,
8 years of school. And then,
where?
so I went to Point Loma and then I got my doctorate at University of St. Augustine over here.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and then, so we were thinking like, oh, should I leave physical therapy or should I really start to pursue surfboards? And so my main reason for like, so one, I love surfing. I love surfboards, love building stuff with my hands. And then second, I wanted to like never miss like a moment in my family's lives.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so by tying that in with making my new business, I did at AH, and my son's name is Hendrix.
Okay.
So A and H. So me and my son, and then vessels. A vessel is only worth as much as you put into it. So a vessel isn't worth anything, but what you put into the vessel is where the worth is. And so, yeah, I kind of just wanted that to be something that then I guess for me, then I was able to communicate like this is only going to be worth as much as I put
Yeah.
into it, and then
Yeah.
incorporating my family and everything. So,
Such a nice concept.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I did that.
So you like to play with boards
Yeah.
because you told me just a few minutes ago, you made a board for me. I will write it hopefully as soon as possible. But then I wrote because I'm really passionate about words that there was a little quote like on the board, and you told me that it's from the Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Yeah, Beyond the Shire.
And,
Um,
and
yeah.
so that's something you usually do, like your signature.
Yeah.
Not only the shape and something we will keep on talking like channels, asymmetrical board, alternative boards, but also this thinking about the person you are building the board for and like giving him a little or her a little gift. I don't know, something that it's really just for you.
Yeah, it's true. Like, so in my shaping bay, I have like a Lord of the Rings book, and it has all three books.
Okay.
And so at the end of building a board, and it has to be somebody that I know or have like somewhat of a relationship with, or we
Okay.
talked before. Like you, like we had a conversation
Yeah.
before, like getting to know each other versus if somebody just orders a surfboard, like if it has a made for enjoyment,
Okay.
then I don't necessarily, maybe I don't know them as well, or it's not a custom, or, and so any board that is for somebody, that I have like some, like I know somewhat, I'll do the Lord of the Rings quote, and then nobody gets the same quote. So I'll cross out the quote,
Okay.
never use it again. So I never use the second one. And it usually has to do with this specific person. So yours Beyond the Shire, coming over from Italy,
Yeah.
to get this board, something that you've never done, and then relating it to like my past with my family, going beyond the Shire to kind of
Yeah.
here, like maybe thinking about it too much,
Yeah,
but
no, 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 no. No, man,
that's just
I can
my,
keep talking about this for hours, and it's like it's the beginning of the story. You
Mhm.
know, you just give me like the headline of this story.
Yeah.
So thanks, because nice copywriting, man. So I appreciate. And you just mentioned the fact that we have I share roots with your grandparents, right? That
Mhm.
were from Italy, or
Yeah,
your
so it's
parents.
my grandparents' parents.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
so
what's the story of your family?
it was kind of complicated, like kind of how they got over here there. So it's the
And
Spinellas and the Gattusos,
yeah.
came over from
That's
Sicily, actually.
their name.
Yeah, so that's what my mom's maiden name is, Spinella,
Ah, Spinella. Okay.
and then Gattuso is
Gattuso too.
yeah, yeah,
Do
Gattuso.
you know that Gattuso is a famous former football player in Italy?
Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
Rino Gattuso.
yeah,
Yeah, from Calabria, in South Italy too.
yeah. So
Yeah.
super interesting. It's something that yeah, it's like I can remember when I was like six, or like literally from 6 years old. It's like my grandpa and all my family telling me like you are Italian. Like that's literally like what It's like it's so embedded like in our family, I'd say that it's been kind of funny. It's something that we all hold a lot of pride in, like very like core family values, like a lot of respect for like my
Yeah,
grandpa too
I
as
can
like the
I can see.
patriarch and
Yeah.
bringing everybody together.
So you ended up living in San Clemente, right?
Yeah,
When
so
did you move there?
I moved there when I was 18.
18. Okay.
18, yeah. So I was born in Florida, grew up in Florida.
Where exactly?
So like Sarasota, I was born in Sarasota, but then
Okay.
also lived in Auburndale, which is Central
Okay.
Florida, in
Yeah.
the middle of the state. Yeah.
And you started surfing there?
Yeah, behind a boat.
Why?
Yeah,
Wow, behind the
yeah.
boat.
So I lived in San Clemente for a couple of years when I was like six to eight.
Okay.
But then moved back to Florida because of family.
Okay.
They moved back there, and then kind of surfed a little bit just on the lake behind the boat.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you started surfing behind the boat on the lake.
that's kind of
But
how
with
it
the
started.
surfboard or like the wakeboard?
Yeah, with a surfboard. Yeah,
Okay. Crazy.
like actually riding the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
because I lived an hour and a half from the ocean on either side.
Wow. Okay, and so was surfing your main sport, or you were playing like, I don't know, basketball, baseball, or
Well, I
whatever?
think just skateboarding and like
Skateboarding.
wake skating.
Okay.
I didn't really start surfing too much until I was like 17. Like
Okay.
even really until I moved to California when I was like 19 is really when it all kind of started with surfing
Okay.
and getting into it. But I was just a kid living in just some random little redneck town in this in Central Florida where like all we did was we just played on the lake and you'd go like catch gators and go mudding and like all stupid stuff like that.
But how old are you now? I don't know.
I'm 30.
30?
Yeah.
Okay, so it means that a lot has happened in the last few years
Yeah.
because you started surfing at around 17, 18,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen you surfing, and you guys can see him surfing and rip.
Ah.
And so it would why how you spend a lot of time surfing
Yeah.
like from 18 on going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Like once I moved to California and I went to Point Loma University down in San Diego. Like once I did that, like I just surfed like I don't know, like 8 hours a day.
Okay.
And even in Florida when I was 17, it's like I'd still drive like 2 hours to the ocean and try and surf like once a week or something like that. But when it was so available to me in California, like
Yeah.
I just went as many times as I could, like whether it was um, like just skipping class to go surf or going surfing with my friends. And everybody's so into surfing here. You've seen. It's literally all over.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's kind of all I did.
Yeah. And have you ever dreamed about being a pro surfer? No, because you started
Yeah,
like
probably.
in old age.
No,
Like,
I knew. I was like one I'm not even close to being good enough, but two yeah, I mean I was living in Central Florida, like
yeah.
it's a miracle to me that I even make surfboards. It's kind of it's hilarious.
In fact, it's a great story. I thought you were like not born and raised in California, but
Yeah.
like moved there when you were younger. And so yeah, it's interesting for us to notice that someone starting surfing at like 18, it's the story of most of our listeners,
Mhm.
because in Italy it's not easy now it is actually, but it was not easy to start surfing at 5, 6, 7 years old when you learn a lot in such a small like window of time.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes we complain about the fact that if we start surfing when we are already men or women, it's harder to get better and improve. So your story tells another version of the fact. So it's interesting.
I got lucky.
Yeah, it's inspiring. So did you always had the passion and the knowledge for surfboards?
Yeah. No. I'd say so. My dad, he's an engineer. Like
Okay.
he could like from a young age, he could pick apart any electronic thing and he'd be able to put it back together.
Wow.
And he can weld. He's a woodworker. He's very athletic. He's one of those people that he just knows how stuff works. He can just look at it, and even if he's never done it before, he's going to be able to figure it out.
Okay.
And so kind of growing up with that, like seeing that, that's definitely something that I'm grateful that I took from him.
Okay.
And so I think that helped me greatly. And also going to physical therapy school, like learning kind of how the body worked, like really in depth and kind of studying the body through surfing. Where at first I really knew nothing about surfboards, like really not for a while. It wasn't until I kind of started shaping surfboards, and I'd say, I mean, to be honest, like I'm still learning about surfing and surfboards. You never stop learning, but it took a while to
Yeah.
like really get to a place where you knew kind of what was going on, or you could hypothesize what was
Yeah. And how many years are now that you started shaping?
just yeah, 10 years.
10
Yeah.
years. So you started 20 for yourself and like family and friends.
Yeah,
Usually goes like that.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all my family was ordering boards, and everybody is really supportive. So that
Okay.
that was kind of cool. That played a huge part for sure.
Okay. So next up, let's talk about your designs
Yeah.
and which are pretty like unique because you shape alternative boards. I don't know if you like that definition, alternative boards,
Yeah, I don't,
which is something that is trendy now. So,
yeah, it's funny. I feel like now, yeah, I really don't mind whatever term, but I'd say
okay.
with alternative, I guess now maybe the majority of surfboards are
Yeah,
alternatives,
yeah,
or really
yeah,
short boards
yeah.
are like standard short boards are maybe alternative.
Yeah,
I've
now
gotten
and now
yeah,
it's
now,
goes like this. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so but
I would agree with you though. That's
no,
what
no, no,
everybody calls them.
it is what it is. Like people, if we say alternative words, they understand us, and yours are a lot like they push the boundary because you use asymmetrical shapes and also like good looking but not easy to understand channels
Mhm.
because we see a lot of channels, but usually we are getting used to the belly channels, the one between the fins, and yours are all the way around the world and with different shapes. You showed me before one that looked like a sword. So,
Mhm.
what are the advantages of these kind of shapes?
Yeah, I think it kind of varies. So like how I like to approach surfboards is me myself, I'm kind of experimenting with different feelings I want to feel, or really what I'm interested in. That's really been important to me to not be too concerned with what other people or what the market's wanting, and kind
Okay.
of to do what interests me, and then I get to essentially like if people want to join me on that journey with myself of experimenting with all these different things, yeah, that's kind of what keeps me excited versus sometimes I might not even know exactly like what this or that will do. Like anybody can only hypothesize what something will do, what's really happening on the bottom of the surfboard. So most of this stuff just comes through trial and error. Just you might just have a certain thought, or you just can't get a thought out of your head trying something. Like for me, I build myself a lot of surfboards.
Yeah.
Um, like I try to stay between like 15 and 20 boards a year. And I work with like a lot of my friends that then it let me experiment with like a lot of different stuff. So I'd say like maybe like 60 surfboards a year. I'm getting to personally do whatever I want with these surfboards versus what somebody's ordering.
Yeah.
So like with the channels, for instance, like I didn't really start doing channels till like 4 years ago. So
Who was your inspiration?
yeah, so a shaper, Donald Brink,
Yeah, don't bring. Yeah.
Donnie, one of my friends, um, he's really who I got my shaping philosophy
Okay.
from, as far as like how, like applying that to surfboards, and kind of that, um, really staying in your lane, like being true to yourself, like doing what, you think as, besides like just kind of looking everywhere and kind of
Yeah.
trying to latch onto something. Um, and so he always experimented with a lot of channels as well. Um, and so for me, I like twin fins. And so asymmetry is kind of just a way to make twin fin surfboards easier to surf in, whether it's backside or beach breaks or short period
Okay.
waves. Like, and for instance, from Florida, like I come from a lot of short period, bad wind swell, like waves that aren't good. Yeah, like
Welcome,
Italy.
welcome
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Italy.
And so in California, like the waves here are really good, like really tapered, really long. You have a lot of time on a wave. And so a symmetrical twin fin, for instance, like a fish, and like you look at all these twin fin designs, and they came from California. And it totally makes sense, because of how much time you have. But a lot of places in the world, you don't have that time on a wave. So like whether you're in like Italy or Florida, and you try to go ride a fish, and you're in the short period wind swell, it's not
Yeah.
really going to work that well. So by using asymmetry, then on your backhand, everything becomes a lot easier. And so I kind of use it to just surf, let people and myself just surf in a more high performance way, but have it be easier because
Okay.
with more fins, you're going slower. There's no way around it because you have just more drag. And so by using channels, they essentially act like little points of grab or
Yeah,
little fins.
because when you surf a thruster, I have the feeling, or they told me, which is easier because you have a central pivot.
Mm-hmm.
So as you said, it's slower, but
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to turn because you have that pivot. So channels try to replace that kind of sensation feeling or like advantage you have with the thruster.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like how I like to use it, yeah, with twin fins. And then there's waves now, like doing like whether it's curves, channels running in opposition of the board can make a board looser, create lift, um, different feelings. There's kind of all different ways you can use channels. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
people who shape amazing channel surfboards, especially even if you look at like the way Australians do
Yeah.
channels versus the way over here in America, or just all these different applications. But I like to use them for high performance twin
Yeah.
fin surfboards.
Maybe a shared feature that all the channels have. You explained me before, and it's a really clear concept because you can visualize what you're saying is the golf ball effect, right?
Oh yeah, so that I would say for the those belly channels, for
Yeah.
instance. So because you're essentially, I'm taping off just a specific slot in the board, and so with golf balls, they do all the divots to make them
Yeah.
more hydrodynamic. Which you'll see there's even a lot of shapers that have done in the past of literally doing golf ball divots in the surfboard
Mm.
in order to do that. And so you kind of get the same thing with belly channels, and by me taping that off and not blending the channel, kind of putting in a specific spot, kind of creates that golf ball
Yeah.
effect, similar to what some people
Yeah.
have done. But then it with the channel, it makes the board faster. It's a hard edge as well.
Yeah. So interesting and clear finally, because it's like seems like some weird like science
I know.
to look at channels and asymmetrical balls. So now it's easier when somebody tells you exactly what's happening. And so all of these concepts, before you tested them and you validate them, they were like passed to you by Donald Brink pretty much, or
I'd
did you
say
study or going around looking for weird things all around the world? I don't know.
Yeah,
What
I'd
was
say it depends. I'd say seeing with Donald Brink, like he's so smart in the way that he looks at surfboards, and he's very intentional with what he
yeah,
does. So that's definitely something that I've tried to learn from him, and being intentional, not just slapping something on somewhere and then just hoping that this works or that. So I'd say for him, he looks at a surfboard from like a place of um, like you can do anything. You're not limited to like this just very specific concept. And
yeah,
so I'd say in that way, um, yeah, but not necessarily. I think sometimes even now I've been trying to like make surfboards, like some surfboards more simple, so that I don't have so much going on with every surfboard. Because I think it's funny sometimes I'll like a surfboard might work. I'll try this thing. I'm like, oh, I think this might work. Like I kind of hope it doesn't, because it looks a little fussy, and like you almost feel like self-conscious, like sometimes like,
yeah.
oh, what's that board, like it looks like it's working good, and you flip it over and there's a lot going on, like so it feels like weird sometimes,
Yeah,
like
it
oh,
feels like I don't want to fuck
yeah
with that.
but
No way. I don't trust you, man.
yeah, and
Okay.
so yeah, it's interesting, but sometimes you just stumble on these things that work best for you. So I've kind of just tried to stay on my path, which is making high performance surfboards easier for people. So that's kind of like my general goal with all my surfboards, and trying to, because mostly I build twin fins.
Yeah.
So seeing how far I can push a twin fin surfboard, whether it's for like this, one of my friends I work with, Jimmy Thompson, like
Ah, yeah.
yeah, like making big wave guns for him,
Yeah.
like at Waimea, or even like second reef pipe, or like that's the type of stuff that gets me excited, is um, taking these kind of like different concepts or things that are just fun to try out, and then work with them and people of waves that
With of
people don't
consequence. Yeah,
expect
they don't
you to
want to
do.
experiment. Yeah.
So I like to do that just because it's really fun. Yeah.
Okay. So now your life is between Kauai and San Clemente, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I spend a lot of time in Hawaii. The one of the reasons too is being um, it's the boards you build for Hawaii are different than anywhere
Yeah.
else in the world.
In
Um,
fact, all of the top guys
yeah,
go there and then buy boards from Arakawa or Pang or all the guys.
yeah, and there's so many talented shapers
Yeah.
over there, and so that's why it's fun for me. It's like this new thing. Like I'm so much of like a beginner, like novice, like still trying to learn so much by way of like building boards for Hawaii, and so it's really fun for me because that's almost like the hardest place in the world to build surfboards. So that's what really excites me. It's like building boards for Jimmy or Kale like on the North Shore, and so that's why
Mm.
I've really tried to spend more time over there. And there's some good board builders as well. Like, so when I'm over there, my boards are getting glassed at Will Scoville's
Mhm.
factory as Scoville surfboards, and then and most of them get laminated by this guy Mark Rico. And then when I'm in California, I'm shaping over here. You met Garrett
Yeah.
Earnshaw just in Oceanside. So yeah, it's been like a cool balance versus you can kind of be this like just shape surfboards for California, but it's almost like really I don't want
Okay,
to say
okay,
easy. I don't
okay,
want to say
okay,
easy. It's easy,
okay.
but it's easy. It's easier to make a board that works here versus some other places. So for me, I kind of just want to be
Step up.
challenged, and
Yeah,
I just want to grow and
yeah,
continue to learn. So that's really the basis for me
yeah.
doing anything is just trying to be just better myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even if you said it's easy to build a good California board, but you are in a place, San Clemente, which is stack of shapers and pro riders. And what do you think about a place you're now living for 10 years,
Yeah.
I guess, or even more?
Yeah.
And you told me we were driving there before and a lot of villas and
Yeah.
crazy places. You told me this place has changed a lot. In
Yeah.
in which way?
I'd say so. So I didn't get obviously the opportunity of growing up in San Clemente for all of my life, but I think one of the things that I do like most about it, and that whenever I'm gone I do miss is as far as board builders, there's a real almost like um, I would say almost camaraderie in a sense of
Okay.
board builders here, and you get to like more so than any other place in the world, you're in like this crazy condensed area where there's so many talented board builders, and it almost pushes yourself um, by being around so many people that are so talented and just seeing all the history that's here. You go down to San Diego. I said as far as San Clemente, obviously places have gotten so expensive
Mm. Yeah.
that now it is like a lot of young people can't afford there as much. So especially if you're a board builder, living in San Clemente on average has definitely become harder for people. So I'd say it almost like would discourage other young board builders from living there because you
Okay.
wouldn't be able to afford the salary.
The
And
rent. Yeah.
same goes with San Diego, and this is kind of the issue that we're seeing and why now like we do need to raise surfboard prices so that then
Yeah.
this whole board building community in California isn't destroyed,
Yeah.
which is that's a total a possibility because if things get too expensive and nobody's able to afford building boards in California, everybody's either going to move or kids aren't going to want to do it or yeah, it's not going to be feasible. So
That's a good point,
yeah,
and it gives me the like an assist to the next question because I would like to ask you if you are now making a living out of surfing, of making surfboards,
yeah.
because this is such an hard business
Mhm.
with a small margin like profit. So how are you doing now?
Yeah, so I I'm very blessed for sure in that I am doing well now. I'd say obviously like during COVID times and it's better than last year got a little slow. And slowly then got better. Obviously during COVID, everybody saw the huge
Yeah.
boost. I'd say that gave me a huge boost that
Okay.
it I don't think that I would be able to make a living building surfboards now. If COVID didn't happen, you saw a lot of, um, I kind of started age vessels like a couple years before, like still super small. Like I'm still small, but
How many boards do you make in a year?
I make like I'd say on average like probably like 400, like three to four hundred.
It's not
Yeah.
small
Yeah.
because you make all of them with your hands,
Yeah.
handmade, like all, in the whole process. Then you bring them to the glasses. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a decent amount. And so I'd say I'm definitely fortunate that I get to build that many boards. I've kind of always in my mind, I was like, oh, why don't you scale? Why don't you scale? Personally, I never, and I'm not going to say I'm never going to scale or I'm never going to use a machine. I don't have anything against that. But personally, I do like working with my hands. I love hand shaping. That's what I love about it. And personally, I want to just continue to be a better craftsman. And that's the best way that I know to do
Yeah,
it. But
practicing and
yeah,
practicing. Yeah.
and by keeping it smaller, as small as possible, I can just keep my overhead super low. And so that's always been my goal, is just keep my expenses as low as I can so that whatever I am making from the surfboards, it's not having to go too
Yeah,
many places.
yeah,
I do, I've had like Ethan Jolly, one of my friends too, like he's helped me with video, photos, and I've hired to do people little things in the past. I
yeah.
think that's what really helped too in the beginning. I put a high emphasis on making sure to show people that like, oh, you can surf these
Yeah.
boards versus just photos of the surfboards. And so I think through little things like that. And then also like shaping bays, like first shaping bay was out of tarps in my parents' garage. My second one was my sister had an apartment and I was like, oh, can I use your
Yeah.
garage to make my shaping bay? And so I made it in her garage. Next one was in my garage in an apartment in San Clemente. And then the next one, yep, in at still where I was living in San Clemente. So I've been lucky that I've had these spaces too where I didn't have to rent a space. So through a lot of fortunate situations like that, and my neighbors were cool throughout those years. I'm honestly shocked sometimes like that people were fine with me shaping where I was shaping because it was all in these residential zones.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
tell the truth, you were like giving them surfboard for free.
No, never. No, never. Charge them double. No. No, so yeah, a lot of special circumstances like that where I was definitely a lot of good friends. I think just making sure to surround myself with good people has been the cause of my success versus me or my talents or anything. It really has to do with my friends, my family, and the people that I just want to be around good people and be kind. And I'd say that's the only reason why
Yeah,
I've been successful.
that's nice from you.
Yeah.
That's so nice. And one last question. Okay, now the sun is
Yeah.
coming up a little bit, but yeah, for us Italian surfers and mostly Italian, California is like a dream, a place where the sun is always shining, the waves are good, and the work-life balance is great
Hmm.
because in Italy to earn the lifestyle and the standards some of you have here, you have to work really a lot, a lot.
Hmm.
I am not saying that people are not working much here,
Yeah.
but usually it's more reasonable, okay? So there are many ways to think about California, but you now have lived here for many years and also traveling around the world, so you know how is abroad, even if you maybe don't ever live in Europe for many months, because
Yeah.
it's different to come and just have an holiday or moving here. So what are the pros and the cons of living in California?
Mm.
And do you love staying and spending time here
Yeah.
and growing up a family too here?
Yeah, yeah. I do love California. I think being from Florida, my wife's from Florida, there's definitely, I think that's why we like to spend so much time in other places too, to make sure that we're like kind of giving our kids like a well-rounded view. But I'd say the cons, and
Mm,
I don't know how, I'd say this is just for America in general. I think just being a surfboard builder, I work a lot, like just kind of being a one-man show.
hmm,
I definitely work a lot. Still make sure to um, prioritize family and stuff, but that still like sometimes gets tough. So I'd say that's one of the things is you definitely have to work a lot. And I'd say if people aren't, I don't know. In my experience, a lot everybody works a lot here.
Really?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
maybe you are in the surfing industry.
yeah, and
No?
even my friends and stuff like yeah,
And they
people work a lot.
yeah, but they are
Yeah.
having success or no?
Yeah, a lot I say success differs for everybody. So I guess whether
Yeah,
it's monetary or whether it's
that you can live out of.
you can, yeah,
Time is important, but
time.
if you earn time means that you work less.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
So
you
that's
see?
yeah, that's why I've tried to like I don't necessarily need, obviously everybody needs money, but it's, yeah, it's always weighing that, like, how
Yeah.
much I got, okay, it's like I'm making this, like, how much time can I buy with what I'm
Yeah,
making essentially?
but
Yeah,
life costs a lot here.
exactly.
So
Yeah. It's
so
very
you
expensive.
yeah,
So you always want to
exactly.
be,
So even if you are someone that says, okay, I'm fine, I don't need much money, I just
yeah.
want to have my house, my holidays sometimes, my time to like spend more I don't know, time around doing the things I love.
Hmm.
But then it seems like everybody's is pretty much balanced in these two things. So passion and time and working.
Yeah, I would say though, to be honest, I don't want to be negative, but I would say in Southern California, work tends to maybe overcome the other aspects. I'd say you see as you get older, a lot pe people aren't really surfing that much.
Ah, okay.
People end up just working more, and that's kind of like a very common theme
Okay.
that I'd say with the majority. I personally would say the majority of the population. That's just what I see. But I could be wrong, but I'd say yeah,
No, 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 no. It's
in
interesting.
California more so than anywhere else that I've ever been, or yeah, people definitely prioritize work here sometimes.
Okay.
I'm not saying in the surf
No,
industry,
no,
but
no, no,
I'm
no,
saying
no. No, no.
as
Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole. Yeah,
That was the meaning of my question was right to have like a full cultural or social overview on
yeah,
what are your thoughts on California. Okay, so I think we had a great chat talking about surfboards, life, uh, epic places all around the world. So next time we do the same interview, but in Italy, okay?
okay, sounds good. I would like to say one more thing too,
Yeah.
for just to say thank you to um my grandpa Leroy Spinella, and I do attribute most of my success to my family, so I just wanted to give him a little shout out
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
and also obviously my parents too, um and my grandma. But yeah, I think my grandpa might be the most psyched on this out of anybody, so I just want to mention his name in here.
Say ciao, just
Yeah.
say ciao.
How's it going?
Thank you so much, Ash. It's been
All
a
right,
pleasure.
thanks.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I
good.
really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.